Hello, children of the world. It's Mama. Did you miss me? Because I sure have missed you. So today, Mama's going to talk about how I acquire a Kelly. And it's actually very easy. I literally call my sales girl and be like, I am ready for a party bag. No, I mean, yes, technically it kind of was like that. I did call her and I was like, okay, how's my special order? And then I asked her about, I was like, okay, like if I were to get a bag to party, like a Kelly, how difficult would it be? And she was like, well, not very difficult because you get two a year, remember? And I was like, I did not forget. Nope, did not forget, but I just wanted to ask. So I was like, okay, I kind of wanted like a bag where I could really just use. Like, do you mean like a bag that I would just use? Like, to go out with, but like not big enough because the Birkin was very heavy. It wasn't a very nightlife-y bag. Like, you can't really go out clubbing with it, which I have, though. I have party with my Birkin. But it's very big. And so it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I don't know if I wanted to keep carrying that bag, and especially it's so cumbersome, right? Because I can't hold two drinks. Well, technically I can, but it's very difficult to hold two drinks with. And so I was like, okay, I kind of want like a Kelly because I saw that it has a strap. And so I was like, I wanted a party bag, so I think a Kelly would be a good option. And so we were kind of debating if I want to go, before this happened, I was like, okay, like I kind of want a dark bag because I know all my friend is gonna be spilling drinks all over it, and I just want to make sure that it doesn't watermark as easily. It doesn't get dirty. It doesn't look really shitty. After I go out with it a day. Do you know what I mean? I don't want it to look crummy. I want it to be able to last for a little bit. So I was telling her, I was like, okay, like that's my criteria. Like I have to make sure that it's very durable, and I have to make sure that it is, and also I was telling her, I was like, I don't like the slouchy look. So there's two versions. Kelly comes in two versions. So there comes with the Sellier, which is the stitching on the outside, which is a little bit more expensive, and then the Return, which is it's piped, so they turn it inside out, and it's more relaxed. So the Return is more like a more relaxed Kelly, and then the Kelly like Sellier is the one that is like with the stitching that's like very stiff, and so it's kind of hold its shape and it won't really slouches. And so I was like, okay, I really wanted something that it's like stands stiff and all of that, because I had my Birkin was it has like it's like a softer one, so it doesn't really stand up, and so it kind of like it's slouchy and everything, which I love, but I want this bag to kind of like hold its shape. And so she was like, okay, like let's figure it out. And so I told her, I was like, okay, like I wanted like a dark bag. I wanted because she was like, okay, maybe we'll be looking at between a 32 or a 35. And I was like, ooh, like what size should I get? Because she was like, well, a 35 is like bit big. It's like big for like going to the club with. She said it's like 32 is actually a good size, because she wouldn't suggest I think a 28, because a 28 she said is way too small to fit anything. And so she was saying the 32 would because the base, there's like the base, so it actually gets smaller, so it's actually not like 32 like all the way around. So the base is 32, and so it kind of tapers a little bit. And so I was like, okay, like that kind of look, because I was looking at the different size on the computer, and I was like, oh, like one of them look a little angled, and I really didn't like that. And so I was like, okay, I want to make sure that it's not like weird. Like I still want it to like look like, because on the picture, like one looks boxier and then the other one looks really angled, and I'm like, oh, I really don't really want the angular one. And so I was like, that was the only thing I worried about. I was like, okay, well, I guess 32 it is. So we decided on 32 dark color, obviously in gold hardware. And so yeah, so she was like, okay, let's figure that out. And so I think I was planning, I forgot what happened, but I think I was planning a trip. And then I was like, okay, here are my dates I want to come by. And then she was like, okay. So she marked down her computer, well, and whatever her note thing and stuff like that. And and while this happened, I was like, oh, maybe I should like go for like a light color, because I was like, oh, like I saw like a salmon, like it's like a pinkish bag, in gold hardware, and I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. And I was like, oh, maybe I should like go for like, like a light blue or something, so it's not like a dark color, because I was like, oh, like a lot of my stuff is dark, maybe I should go with something that's bright. And she's like, knowing you and knowing you don't really take care of your bag, the light color will just get like effed up real quick, and you're gonna like not be impressed by it. And so she was like, definitely go with the darker color. And I was like, okay, well, you know best. Sometimes I feel like she knows what she's doing, so I was like, okay, I'll trust you. Like I was like, dark bag is probably good. And so anyway, just a couple days before I was supposed to show up, she gave me a call, because I was like, is the bag happening? Because I was like, oh, is a special order happening? Or do you know what I mean? It's like, do you know what I mean? Like, would I get a Kelly? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's happening? And so she's like, well, the special order hasn't shown up yet. And I was like, oh, it's like coming to my time though. It's like, you know what I mean? This is like a year later or something like that. And I was like, oh, it's like, I am coming. And so she was like, okay, well, we'll figure something out. So she called me on the Thursday. I was supposed to show up on the Monday. And so she called me on Thursday, and early morning, like this was like I think 9:30 before her shift starts, and she was like, girl, okay, we got a shipment in, and it's basically what you've been hoping for. And I was like, oh my god, like, is my special order coming in? And she's like, no, it's a Kelly. So I was like, okay, that's not bad. So she's like, okay, it's Kelly, and it's Sellier, and it's the only one that came in the order that was Sellier, and it was electric blue. And I was like, oh my god, like, is this my bag? And she was like, does that sound like it's your bag? And she was like, it's Epsom, and it's beautiful, and it's like, oh my god, it's gorgeous. And I was like, well, I guess I'll take it. And she's like, okay, so you do want it? I was like, yes, I do want it. And so she was like, okay, like, I'll call you back. And I was like, okay. So I thought like that was that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I got the bag. And so I literally proceed on telling everybody that I met that I'm getting this bag. And I wish I did, because it would have turned out so horribly wrong, because if it didn't, anyways, whatever. So I went on to tell everybody, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my god, it's happening. I'm getting a Kelly. It's a Sellier. It's gonna be beautiful. It's electric blue. It's in gold hardware. And I just cannot stop talking about it. And so she called me around 3 in the afternoon, and she was like, we got it. And I was like, what do you mean we got it? I thought we got it like hours ago. And she's like, no, they have like every other sales girl want it for their own client, so they end up have to do a draw, and we won. And I was like, oh my god, so you mean I could have lost and not got this bag? And she's like, yeah, but I didn't want to worry you. And it's like, do you know what I mean? All that. And I was like, oh my god, like I literally went through the whole day breaking out. So I was like, oh my god, like I was like, oh, well, at least, and she's like, well, at least, it's like, it's in our favor, so we won, so it's all good, so we didn't have to worry about it, so we didn't make a liar out of you. And I was like, oh my god, like I didn't know like they was doing a draw. So I guess that's how they split up bags that are highly coveted, and all that. And so when I picked it up, one of the sales girl, she was like, oh, like, girl, it's basically a special order. Like, they haven't seen, like, a Sellier in so long. And so it was, like, a really, like, coveted, and every sales girl wanted it, and we won. And so I showed up, and I literally was like, oh, my God. So she's like, okay, are you ready? So we went to the back room again, and, and she brought it out, and it was beautiful, like, so gorgeous. And so I was like, yesing. I was like, yes, Gaga, yes, like the whole store. Like, thank God, I think I was the only. I think there was another person, like another like buyer, like another customer in there, but I was like, I didn't care. I was like, yeah. And plus, all the management loved me, so I could kind of pull shit like that. And so I was like, yes, be super loud. And she's like, okay, I hope you're ready for this. I have a present for you. And I was like, oh my god, what is it? My special order? Because I'm not ready for this. I was like, I was not ready for a special order, because I was like, I have to choose. It would be like Sophie's Choice. And And so she's like, it's a little thing. And so she brought out a crocodile CDC in electric blue with gold hardware to match my bag. And I nearly cried. I was like, oh my God, like this cannot be happening. Like, oh my God. And she's like, yep, like, we got it. Like, it just landed. That item just landed that morning. And as soon as she saw it, she's like, this must be yours. And I was like, yes, it must be mine, girl. And so it was I just can't not. And so I put it on. She's like, well, it's small though. And I was like, oh, I'll make it fit. And I did make it fit. And I brought it home. And it was so gorgeous. And I loved it. And it was so magical. Like everything, like I said, like I feel like sometimes like Hermes has kind of had this reputation where it's like, it's the sales girl really doesn't care, but when you get the right one, it really does make the experience just exactly how you think getting a luxury item to be. And it was wonderful. And this time actually, I did the whole, cause I went there by myself with a friend that he was meeting from San Francisco. And so I smuggle, all the cash money across the border and then put the rest on, I think I put it on 2 or 3, but I made it like spread out. I spread out the payments. I was like, those are different purchases. but brought it home and I named it Cookie Monster because it literally is like the shade of Cookie Monster. And also it eats all my money. So so I feel like that's a very fitting name for Cookie Monster. And and he is wonderful. And he's been very good to me, parting wise and everything, all that. And it's like, it's a good bag. 32 would surprisingly fit a lot of things in there. And it just like, it's good. But the only thing I had to complain about, I think that the strap is it's very tight. So you have to really make sure that you don't overfill it, or else you're not able to, if you want to close up the strap, why would you? Now that I have them, it's like it's easier to just latch it on and then not worry about it. Like you really wouldn't want to do the little strap. I think the strap is really for decorative sake because I never have to really lock it up. But so that is my journey on getting my Kelly, and it's a lot easier once you're in the club. So definitely my recommendation is to get yourself into the club, and then everything will be good. So remember, Momma loves you.